Hey, Desiree here with Soul Path Astrology and this week's Oracle card readings. This video is for card number 3. If this was your selection, this is what you got. Before I reveal it, though, I do invite, as always, if you find value in these, please like them, love them, share them, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and spread the love. Okay, without further ado, card 3, we have listening reversed. Are you feeling that you're not being heard, that perhaps your needs aren't valid, and that your song will go unsung? Now is the time to bring your message to the world. Speak up. It's time for your voice to resound throughout your sphere of influence. This is a moment to say what you mean and ask for what you want. In the reverse position, listening has another meaning too. It also asks if you've been refusing to listen to someone else, preferring to hear what you want instead of what is being said. This is the time to get out of denial. Reversed, this card always brings freedom if you heed its advice. Listening. Where to take this one? So, first of all, let's talk about listening to yourself and all the ways, myriad of ways that we don't do that. So, our body will often give us a clue about something. Maybe we feel uncomfortable in a situation or feel yucky about something somebody said, or maybe there's just some other kind of potential for conflict that's coming up that you realize if you were to listen to yourself that you would have to have this challenging conversation with somebody and that you'd prefer not to, right? Because this card is reversed. Is there somewhere that you're not listening to your own judgment, to your own inner wisdom in an attempt to avoid conflict? Or maybe there's something you deep down is true, and you don't want to own it because there might be some pain involved. There might be some change involved. There might be some fighting involved, that maybe it feels more comfortable to not hear what you're hearing rather than actually hear it and then feel obligated to act on it. But like the card said, there's freedom in really just quieting ourselves down and really listening to what's being said. An opportunity came up today for me to realize that a friend of mine needed deeply to be heard. She was beating herself up. Her internal dialogue was refusing to hear this really small little voice inside her that was begging for mercy, was begging to slow things down, that was begging to have way more spaciousness, way more patience, and way more gentleness in order to feel safe to come out of hiding. And this is something that I'm really guilty of with myself too. I can really beat myself up sometimes in an attempt to motivate myself. And so this card, because I often use my own life experiences as fodder for these things, like, where in my life do I not listen to me? Where am I not? Is there a cry for compassion that I'm not meeting with compassion? I'm meeting with aggression. Sometimes there's a need for aggression. Sometimes there is a need to, like, okay, we've been playing around with this. We've been nice long enough. Now it's time to have a boundary here. But other times, maybe the approach has been quite aggressive and what's needed is compassion. So the invitation with this card, if it was your choice, is slow down and check in. What's needed? Are you needing to hear something that's being shared inside? Is there a little voice in there that's needing you to slow down? Is needing you to take a breath? Is needing you to return to something softer and gentler so that your nervous system can cool down and regulate and then increase capacity for the doing. Right? Sometimes when we find ourselves in a state of procrastination, it isn't because often the procrastination isn't because you don't have an inner slave driver slapping the whip hard enough. It's usually because you're actually already overstimulated. You've been beating yourself up, or maybe externally somebody's been beating yourself up, and you're actually in freeze. You are demotivated. You have just lost any actual capacity to move forward, and you've just checked out. And what's needed is just the gentlest bringing in of attention, the gentlest bit of energy to coax you out of this freeze response. Even though externally, maybe it looks like there's been nothing but laziness or nothing but productivity, The slave driver isn't maybe what's needed. If you've got this card, maybe what's needed is actually more softness, really owning that compassion, really owning creating spaciousness for you to carefully and gently emerge out of this cave of overwhelm and this cave of procrastination. So I hope that landed. I love you guys. I just this journey is so crazy. And if you want to deep dive with me, if you want some space to explore, to find out, do you need a little bit of a master, or do you actually need a little bit of a mother right now? What's happening? Is there somebody in your life that's maybe telling you something that you don't want to hear? Often we'll find that situation too. Well, I'm here. Let's bounce ideas off each other. Have a third party hear you and create a space for you to hear your own inner wisdom. And that's what we do with our readings. So there's a link to a long one, an hour-long one where we deep dive with your astrology and your gene keys and whatever else, some cards. And there's a shorter one. It's only 30 minutes, but it can be so potent. And we just use the cards as an entry point into these conversations. If either one of those sound like they resonate, sound like something you want, click on the links and let's set something up. In the meantime, know that I love you. Come back to yourself, give yourself some grace, give yourself some gentleness, and then you'll start to find that energy to move forward once more. So with that, I will leave you. I love you, and we'll talk soon. Bye for now.